Hi everyone, welcome to Here We Are, Brattleboro's community talk show. I'm Wendy O'Connell, and our guest today is Eowyn Jakub. Eowyn is a student and performer at NECCA, the New England Center for the Circus Arts here in town, which is known far and wide, nationally and internationally, as an amazing ground for learning the circus arts. They are 13 years old and began their circus training at the age of 5, and they live on their farm, Windhorse Farm, and is happily homeschooled. Welcome, Eowyn.
Hello.
Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. You have, 8 years of circus training under your belt now?
Geez, it is 8 years now.
Yeah.
I forgot that last summer was the 8 year.
Yeah, that's a long time, yeah. Can you remember when you first started training, what it was like?
Oh, I remember the first time I went to circus camp, I was like terrified. I was like, this is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then like by the third day of camp, I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Really? It was that quick?
Yeah, and I was like, Mom, can I do a class? And Mom's like, yeah, so.
And
I
so
started doing circus classes.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing them ever since.
Ever since 8 years. And so when you first start training, what do you start doing? What kinds of things are you doing at 5 years old?
I think I did some like tumbling and silks mostly.
Uh-huh.
Silks is fun because you can just swing around on it and it looks cool.
Yes. You know, at some point in the show, I'm going to have you describe the different things that you can do, because I think a lot of people don't know silks and fabric. I think a lot of us know about, the trapeze and that kind of thing. And during this time, you've been homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you have a little sister?
Yeah.
What kinds of things do you do on the farm?
Let's see. I like to bounce on our trampoline. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Every farm should have a trampoline, right?
It's true. It doesn't count if it doesn't have a trampoline.
And so you're actually able to do some of your training, some of your practice anyway, right, on the trampoline?
Yeah, for like birthday and solstice, Grandma got me like a really nice trampoline so that I can train at home.
Oh, that's pretty great. And any other things that you're interested in? Reading, art, music?
I like music, reading, and art, and D&D, and let's see. I think that's pretty much it.
That's a lot.
And circus, obviously.
Obviously circus, yes. What kind of music?
Not particularly picky, but I like rock and stuff.
Uh-huh. You don't play an instrument?
I do.
Oh, what do you play?
I play bass.
Oh, bass guitar?
Yeah.
Stand-up bass? Bass guitar?
Bass guitar.
Great. You like it?
Yeah.
Rhythm. That's all about rhythm, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Do you perform at all with music?
Actually, like, I have one coming up, first like concert-y thing for our homeschool group.
Oh.
Which will be fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you have quite a strong homeschool group.
One of my favorite things.
It is.
Yeah.
And are they kids your age, or is it a wide range?
It's like a wide range. There's like a lot of little kids. We've named them the herd because they have a tendency to stampede across the building really loudly. But there's a couple other kids my age. I mean, there's Narya and her friend.
And Narya's your sister?
Yeah, Nar's 10, my friend's 9. And then I've got 2 friends who are my age.
Yes.
In host group, and we all just kind of hang out together.
Uh-huh. And Narya's doing circus as well, as
yes.
you said, right? You did a little theater, I think?
A little, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mostly just with our homeschool group.
Yeah.
But
different kind of performance, I would guess.
It is. It was kind of out of my comfort zone because I don't like talking like loudly to a bunch of people. I talk really loudly, actually. But when there's a bunch of people I don't know, I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk. But I like it. It's fun.
And you have to learn lines, which is a different skill set too,
it's
right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Trying to learn mine right now, but I keep forgetting the last 2.
So your work and your time at NECCA, which you go several times a week, is that?
Twice, and some weeks I have like a private lesson at the end of the week, so sometimes 3 times.
What's your focus these days?
In circus, let's see, a lot of Chinese pole and trampoline and like tumbling right now.
Chinese trampoline?
Chinese pole and trampoline.
What does that mean?
Chinese pole is like, it's like a metal pole and it's got like a rubber coat on it, and you climb up it and you can slide down it and do cool things on it generally.
Yes. I've seen that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do a lot of very
Yeah,
cool
I really
things.
like Chinese pool. It's
You
like one of
do.
my favorites.
Uh-huh. Can you explain the silks a little bit to people? Silks and fabric are the same thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically like, it's like really thin, stretchy cloth, but it's like super strong. And there's two different types. You can do silks, like regular, which is 2 pieces that are connected at the top. And there's 2 pieces, and you can like have your feet individually in them and do splits and stuff.
Ooh.
And then there's also sling, which is 1 loop,
Uh-huh.
and you can like do stuff in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And with silks, you can also tie them together and make a loop, but then you have a really annoying knot at the bottom to deal
Right.
with.
Right. Your description of that makes me feel like I could get tangled up so easily.
Oh yeah, I don't do silks too much because I get confused and I get tangled up. And they're like, no, you wrap left. And I'm like, which way's left? I'm upside down. I can't tell.
Oh, wow. In your 8 years there, that I would think that different people have different strengths or different focuses.
It's changed quite a few times.
Has it?
Yeah.
Yes. And each time you're skill building, though, right? You're learning new things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it hard?
I mean, depending on the apparatus, most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like some things that I'm like, this is not as hard as it sounds. That's how most of the tricks are. When you actually get them, you're like, why did that take me 3 months to figure out that's like the simplest thing in the world?
Yeah. But I think a lot of that probably is body memory, right? You do it over and over and over, and you get more proficient at it. Yeah. I would think it would be incredible for self-confidence.
Probably.
Actually, let me pose that as a question to you. We'll come back to that. I've talked to both Serenity and Elsie. They were actually on the show a couple years ago. And their focus is so much on team building and working together.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
I like being part of like a team, like community.
Uh-huh. And when you're working together, is it differentiated by age, or is it different ages working together?
It depends. Like we've got a couple acts that's like older and younger kids. And then sometimes it'll be like, this is older kids act, or this is a younger kids act. But we do a mix the younger and older kids together a lot, which I like. I like working with the littler kids.
Yeah, yeah. And when you talk about an act, and it took me a while to understand what was meant by that, but that is actually about creating something, a performance, right? Like you create the different things that you're going to do in an act, and so it's almost like choreography.
Yeah, there's like, I like choreographing my acts. It's fun. And like, I like to train. Like, I always like the acts that are like stories. You know, they're like little stories. I always like those ones. They're fun to try and put together.
Yes. So would you, for instance, would you come up with a story, and then you would go about figuring out what kinds of choreography you want to do?
Well, it depends. Sometimes I'll come across a song and I'll be like, this is a really cool song. This could be like a really good circus act. And then I'll like go put the song on and just see what I can like match with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then try and remember it all.
And you were saying that actually you can write this down.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot because I hurt my shoulder, so I can't climb the Chinese pole. So I've been writing my act down.
And you envision it then.
Yeah.
And this is something that you would do alone?
Sometimes. A lot of the time I'll just like do it by myself, but I'll sometimes also be like hanging out with my friends, my circus friends.
Yes.
And like we'll like be like, well, what do you think about this trick before that trick?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And all this time you have had coaches, right?
Yes.
Each year you have had a coach to work with. So do you come to the coach with ideas, or do they suggest ideas to you?
A little bit of both, usually.
So it really is quite cooperative.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some videos, and I've seen NECCA perform live, and I think so much is about stretching, obviously stretching your body, but you're stretching yourself, I would guess, in so many different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is that for you?
Let's see. I mean, I like to kind of like be like, okay, I got this trick. What's the next step up? Can I do it? You know? Like seeing how many times I can level that trick up before it gets too hard.
And so you're aspiring to the next, whatever the next step is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and challenging yourself. Do you find that's kind of true for most kids who are involved with circus?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like how like into circus you are, you know? Like some people are like, it's like a fun activity to do. I can hang off of the trapeze and swing, yay!
Yeah.
You know? And then some people are like, I just like really want to like get better.
Yeah.
But it depends, like.
On the kid,
Yeah.
on the person, yes. Because you also got adults there. One thing that's great about NECCA is they do workshops that are open to people of all ages.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of adults who have gone there, you know, for the challenge of it and also to stay in shape.
Yeah.
Have you done aerial at all?
I do some aerials.
You do?
I really want to learn straps and like span sets.
Can
right now.
you describe that?
Let's see. Well, straps are like really uncomfortable and bad for your shoulders, but they're like straps basically, and they have a loop on the end that you put your wrists through, and you can like twist upside down. You can put your feet in them.
Got it.
It's like, it's hard to explain. Straps are confusing.
I've seen it, so I know what it is hard to describe.
Yeah, and then span sets are like just like a round loop that a lot of people like use to hang their apparatus up or something. But you can take two of them. You have to have like this special triangle thing, and it has two swivels coming off of it, so they can both spin individually. And then you have both two span sets hanging, and sometimes you can like cross them or something, and then you just can do cool stuff on them.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of marionettes a lot of the time.
Oh, interesting.
I want to do a marionette themed act on one. With span sets.
Oh, so that you would pose as a marionette?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. What is it like for you to perform?
I don't know. It's like, it's so like exciting, you know? It's like, yay, I get to like go show all these people this cool trick that I finally got after working on it for a while. I don't know. It's just really fun.
Yeah, and you're not intimidated by an audience.
I always am.
Oh.
But
It probably doesn't last too long.
if I go do it anyway, once I start doing the circus, I just forget that they're all there. I'm like,
right.
I just have to focus on getting this right.
Right. Well, you know, that was one of my big questions for you when I was thinking about this. When you're performing and when it's really happening, you know, when you really feel like it's come together and you feel that energy, do you go in a zone?
I just kind of don't pay attention to anything else because I'm so busy focusing on like, oh, I have to get this music cue that's coming up.
Right.
Or this is a really tricky trick and I have to remember,
Yes.
like, oh, I have to flex my foot here and then point my other foot here.
Yeah.
So I'm just so focused on doing that that it's just like I don't pay attention to anything else.
Yeah. You can't go into a different place. You have to really be
And
here.
it's like, in my acts, I try and have like a couple tricks where I can like just hold them for a while and like look and see the audience. But I usually have two of those at most.
Yeah.
You know, usually I'm just so focused on like getting the trick right.
Right.
But I've got a couple easy ones that I can just like hold for a little.
Yes, right. And I would think there would be a flow that occurs,
Yeah.
right? Especially if you've got an act that you're following.
Yeah.
You get into the flow. And have you done many acts with other people?
I have to actually think about that. It depends. Like a lot of our like tumbling acts and stuff are group acts. There's some other people in one of my upcoming Chinese pole acts. But like especially in the summer when I perform like at Guilford Fair and stuff, I'll just do a solo act because it's so hard to like have a friend and agree on an apparatus and music and then get together enough to actually put together an act and then both be able to get to a performance.
Right.
So it's easier to just have a solo act because it'll be like, oh wait, you're gonna have to make a different act for that performance because I forgot that I had a dentist appointment at that time.
And you performed at the Guilford Fair by yourself?
Yeah,
That's
I had a solo act. That was an interesting performance. I taped my lira wrong because I just gotten my own lira and I taped it wrong. So when I tried to do this trick, the tape peeled down so the sticky side was out and it stuck to my leg and peeled all the skin off while I was performing. I still have a scar.
Oh my God. And a lira is, one of the big
Yeah, it's a metal
circus.
hoop.
Yeah.
And you can get like single point or a double point, which is also called a cat ear. I like double point because it's such like sturdier. And now there's tippy lira, which is like you have the lira like this, and there's 2 points like this, so you can like do something in it, and it'll flip around. It's really cool. I want to learn that.
Oh, that's very cool. I saw one of the videos I watched was a woman who had one that was the shape of a peace sign.
Oh my God, I've seen that one in the back of NECCA.
It's incredible.
It's so cool.
It's very moving. Actually, it's very moving. She does it to the Sounds of Silence, that old song. It's really, yeah, it was quite remarkable to see that.
I'll have to go see that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
It's
Because I've seen that in NECCA, and I've been like, that's so cool. I want to borrow that or get my own.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful because she's got that hoop and then another one around it. So she's working the two hoops together. I would think, Eowyn, that you have to be so aware of so many different things. There's so many, it feels like there's so many moving pieces, you know, when you're doing an act especially. But just even, I would think, practicing, being at the trapezium with other people, you must have to have an awareness of the other people around you and space, right? Physicality.
Yeah, it's like, because there's always like, you'll be like, oh, I'm just going to like walk over and get water. And then you'll be like, oh, I can't walk that way. There's somebody doing steer wheel right there.
Yes.
And over there, there's somebody on a trapeze that's way up.
Yes. And have you had to synchronize with someone else?
A little bit,
Yeah. I would think
It's
that'd be
always
tricky.
harder than it looks.
I'll bet. Well, when it works, it looks fabulously beautiful. But I can
Yeah.
imagine what it takes to get there.
It's just melts my brain. It's just like, one of us is always going faster than the other.
Yeah.
So one of us always ends up stuck in one position while the other one catches up, and then we'll just.
It's interesting,
going
isn't
like
it,
that.
how much work it takes to get something to look really good, and then it looks so easy.
Yeah.
And it's actually sort of what you were saying at the beginning, is learning something new. And it's really, really hard, and then you get it, and you can't believe, like, why was that so difficult for me?
Yeah, you're like, that was really easy. That took me way too long to figure out.
But your body knows it now. That's the other
Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like the other day, or actually earlier today, I was going through videos of me practicing this one trick. I had like 60 of them.
Wow.
And there was 2 at the end where I got the trick. And you can hear me going, that was so easy. It's funny because it took me so long to get it, and then it was so easy.
Right. Yeah, because your body knew it. Does it feel like it's your body?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Circus helped you to find out how you learn best?
Yeah. It's like, I prefer not to learn with somebody just like talking at me. If they can show me a couple times and then help me do it, I'll probably learn faster than if you just talk at me for half an hour, because then I'll stop focusing and I'll be like, ooh, there's someone doing something cool over there.
Does that translate into like your schoolwork at all?
I mean, probably. It's like my mom always rolls her eyes at me because I'll be doing my math. She'll be like, do you want help with that? And I'll be like, no, I want to figure it out on my own. And she'll be like, you could watch the video that comes with it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to listen to them talk. I'll just do it over and over again until I figure it out myself.
So by writing it down and figuring it out with your mind.
I try and not write it down, and then I write it down. I'm like, oh, I figured it out already.
Oh. Eowyn, you have done Dungeons and Dragons for a number of years. I think that it's gotten a bad rap in a lot of places of people who don't understand what it is. And I wonder, can you give us a snapshot of what it is, but how your engagement with it is interesting for you?
Well, I mean, I always find it fun because it's like you have all your friends and you can just like make a story together almost. And like you have your map and you can move your little pieces around, and then there's the DM who will like has like a general outline of a story that they follow, but then you get to make choices like there's a door over there. What are you gonna do? And you can be like, oh, I wanna listen and see if there's anything on the other side. Or you can be like, I'm just gonna kick it in. Like, I have a friend who once ran, and the DM's like, okay, there's a mountain, and there's like a dark door in it. There's no door anymore, but you can't see past the door shape. And my friend's like, I'm gonna run straight into it. We're like, are you sure? He's like, I'm positive. Run straight into it, fell down the stairs, and knocked himself out on his own weapon.
Oh, wow.
It was funny.
And does that affect the rest of the group, the decisions that you're making? Does it
Well,
affect
everybody
the others?
else was like, oh, there's stairs. And it's dark. We're going to light a lantern and walk down the stairs. And then it also affects the group because now you have to drag your unconscious person along with you somehow.
Oh, interesting. So you're really working together and you're solving problems together too, right?
And then there's like a lot of like battles, but I like it when there's more puzzles than battles.
Figuring out how to do things
Yeah.
and how to do things together.
Like sometimes there'll be like a doors or like with like a puzzle on it, you have to figure out the puzzle to open the door. Or like there'll be traps that you can like, if you can sense them, you can try and figure out how to disarm them before you set them off and stuff.
Yes, right. So you're thinking all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's like if you just like wrote down everything that happened while you were playing D&D, you'd probably have a pretty good story after you went through it and made it make sense.
And do kids do that? It's not just kids, it's adults that do D&D, but yeah.
Yeah, like my Tio Zeke does D&D. He's a really good DM.
And DM, what does DM mean?
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon
It's
Master.
the person who runs the game.
Whoa. And does that change? Does that shift?
I mean, technically anyone can be a Dungeon Master. Some people are better at it than others. Like I'm not a good Dungeon Master because I just get confused. I prefer to play. But my sister DMs for our club.
Oh, really? At 10 years old?
Yeah. Because we have like some like old games that our Uncle Zeke gave us where like, it's just like, you just have to like look at the page and it'll tell you, tell the players this, don't tell, here's the things that you know that you don't tell them. Here's like the different choices they could make, you know?
Yeah. But you're still doing it. You're still actively playing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back to NECCA, and I wanted to ask you about ProTrack, because this is something that NECCA offers for people who are looking at circus as a career, and also training, having professional standards, and it looks like a really rigorous training.
Yeah,
but
I've
you're
seen the
interested.
ProTrackers training.
Pardon?
I like to watch the ProTrackers training.
Yeah.
Their workouts look terrifying.
Really? Yeah. And do you have to be a certain age to do this?
Usually it'd be 16 at youngest, but you have to like get someone to sign off on your education or graduate high school. But I think typically it's 18. I want to try and get in at 16 though.
You're working at being a performing circus artist.
Yeah.
And how do you envision that for yourself?
I don't know. I just want to be in a circus and like travel around and see the world, and then I want to come be a coach at NECCA.
Oh, that is a great plan. That's a terrific plan. And I think it probably could come true. Yeah. Part of the ProTrack is that it does enable you to get to continue the career, but there are people who do circus on cruise ships, right?
Yeah,
and
I think that
also
would be fun.
Things like Cirque du Soleil. There are a lot of different troupes around the country.
Yeah, because they have so many different shows.
Yes.
And then they have backups for all the people in the different shows. There's so many people.
Oh, interesting. So it's if someone gets injured or sick or something, someone can step in.
Because like you have to have like a backup, and there's some characters that'll have like a stunt double or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's very cool. And you can see yourself doing that. Yeah. During the pandemic, how did that work with NECCA? Were you able to still do things?
No.
Not at all?
So like I've been doing circus for 8 years, but technically it would be 7 years because for most of 2020 I couldn't do NECCA.
Yeah.
You know?
And you weren't doing Zooms?
No, not much.
Pretty hard to do it, right?
Yeah.
Was that a hard year?
Yeah. I had some other stuff that I was interested in. I really wanted to learn how to fence that year.
Oh.
And I gave that up pretty quickly when I realized that it wasn't just sword fighting, and that there were rules.
Well, yes, it's a real skill, right? It's a different
Yeah.
kind of skill. Yeah, and it has all kinds of different attributes that you have to learn and follow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, though, to watch.
It is pretty cool.
Yes. You've talked a little bit about the things that, are challenging for you. What's the most fun for you, or maybe most satisfying? It could be a bunch of things.
I'd probably say trampoline.
Trampoline. And you do tricks on the trampoline?
Yeah, I'm learning tramp wall right now, which is really fun.
What is it?
Tramp wall.
Tramp wall. Oh, what is that?
It's like you have the trampoline and then you have a wall.
Yeah.
And you can like go stand on top of the wall and fall off backwards and then run your feet up the wall and just keep going, and then you can do like twists and stuff on it.
Wow.
It's fun. That's what I did for my last performance.
Do you ever work with your sister?
We've tried. It usually ends up in an argument.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's part of that territory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we like to make little circus shows together, though. We used to have a trapeze that I actually made that we had inside.
Really?
And then one day me and Nara and one of my friends were playing on it. I did a knee hang on it, and it snapped in half.
Oh, God. Oh, God. This is why circuses have riggers, right?
Yes.
Obviously, your coaches are older than you, and they've been in biz for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Are they, in your relationship, are they mentors for you? Do you aspire, in certain cases, to be able to perform in a certain way or to handle things in a certain way?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that would be very enlightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally have the coolest coaches ever.
Do you? Can you name any of them?
Levi, Victoria, Serenity, Katie.
Yep.
It's like, and then I have a bunch of coaches that aren't my coaches anymore, but they were really cool. I think a couple of them are in Circus LA right now.
Are they? Yeah. There are also competitions, like national competition, like in Vegas. And people from NECCA have gone to that, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's very cool. It's wonderful, though, because there's no emphasis on competition. It's really about excelling at something.
Yeah, I like that there's no competition.
Yeah.
I don't like competing very much.
Yeah.
It's like me and my friends will be like, I bet I can get to the top of the pole before you. And like have races and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's never like really competitive, like a competitive gymnastics or something.
Yeah. And the trapezium itself is pretty phenomenal. It's really impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And when you first started, were you at the trapezium?
Cotton Mill.
Cotton Mill, right. That's right.
Yeah.
You remember that? You remember
Yeah,
being
I
there?
went to like one day of like a break camp at the
Uh-huh.
Cotton Mill. I was like, oh, look, this is the room where I met this person.
Uh-huh.
Which was
And
fun.
have
It
you had
was so
friends?
fun to go back there.
Was it? And you have friends that you've kept over these years, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one of my best friends I met in I think I met in like 2017 or something doing Circus.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was 2016, I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Well, it's also great to, keep the interest and keep the spirit of circus going through the pandemic, because that was a tricky time to keep your interest up. Yeah. Eowyn, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, it's fun.
Oh, good. Well, our aim is always to have fun. And it's wonderful to hear about NECCA, and I think that we're so lucky to have NECCA in our community. It has such a reputation worldwide.
Yeah.
And it really is it's the premier center for circus arts, I think, pretty much in the country for this kind of training.
It is. Mom always tells me that I'm lucky that it's practically in my backyard.
Yes, it is, yeah. And we're all lucky to have you and everybody else who's performing and working there. So
Yeah.
thanks for being there. And thanks for coming on the show.
Like I said, it's fun.
Good.
I like it.
Great. Thanks to all of you for joining us today and for learning a little bit about Eowyn and what she's up to and what NECCA is up to. And I really encourage folks to keep NECCA on your radar. They are doing phenomenal things with, as we were both saying, with kids, but with grown-ups. You can take workshops there. You can go to the performances, which are always mind-blowing. And so thanks for tuning in. We will be here again, and we look forward to having you with us.